This is a Kirkendall Barrett presentation, darling.
You can touch it if you want.
Ladies, if you want to meet a man, check your storage closet.
Come on, Kendall. Take off your shirt and go camera shopping at Best Buy.
Good shirtless, not bad shirtless.
Yeah.
Well, it was gratuitous.
Yeah, it was.
I like a good grizzled man sometimes.
A lifetime of Hallmark.
Well, hello, everybody. It's your favorite time of the week. It is time for another episode of A Lifetime of Hallmark, where we talk about your favorite movies on both Lifetime and the Hallmark Channel and try to make sense of them. I am Les Kirkendall Barrett. Hello, Jason Bowers.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett.
And hello, Kurt Fitzpatrick.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett, and hello, Jason Bowers.
I noticed you said favorite time of the week. And that's true because we're in 2 different days right now, aren't we?
Yes, I'm in the I'm calling from the future. It is 2:10 a.m. and I am in London, England. So for me, it is tomorrow.
and Kurt and I are recording at what is 9:10 p.m. his time on the East Coast and 6:10 p.m. for me on the West Coast here in the U.S.
Well, Genie told me you're not supposed to time travel.
Well,
right.
Are we already getting into this?
The opening was there.
The rules of this movie were so confusing.
Because they always change.
There weren't rules. They would say a rule and then the rule doesn't really apply. Then why are there rules?
Take it back.
We're talking about Genie, this Peacock movie starring Melissa McCarthy that wasn't without its charms, but was chaotic.
It was very chaotic. I do have to say so. I watched this movie. So I had a 2-hour layover. So for listeners, for those of you who don't know, my husband is British. And so we come to the UK every Christmas, which if you think about it, and if you've been listening for the past 3 or 4 years, this is my annual call in the middle of the night from the UK or Europe episode. And it happens every year. And so I actually watched Genie on my 2.5-hour layover in Seattle. So on the upside, it was a wonderful way to spend a layover. And it was very entertaining.
Like I said, not without its charms. I felt like tonally the movie was all over the place. And I felt like they couldn't make up their mind what kind of Genie movie they were going to make.
Right. I agree.
And a vehicle for Melissa McCarthy. She could probably do a little better as far as vehicles go.
She's done worse though too. Like she was very winning in this. She was very likable, very funny. Like I did laugh out loud several times throughout this movie. But I think I've even mentioned on this show before. I know that this is sacrilegious to say this, especially at this time of year, but I do not like the movie Love Actually. And this was written by Richard Curtis, who wrote Love Actually and directed Love Actually.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't direct this, but he wrote it.
And then, so then I have a bunch of questions that we'll get into as well. Like, for example, they're in New York. Mm-hmm. And they didn't explain why there was a family of British people living in New York.
I actually was okay with that not necessarily needing an explanation because it didn't really matter to the plot.
Now, mind you, I'm married to someone who is from the UK, so I am married to a British person in America, so it's not like it's uncommon. But when his whole family ended up there, I would have loved even just a little throwaway of how they all ended up there.
I have a theory about that family scene that I will get to later in the podcast. But a little breadcrumb here is that you said a good vehicle for Melissa McCarthy. I have a theory that this is conceived as a vehicle for somebody else.
Huh. Also, you want to hear something interesting? So here, and we took the tube, and there are posters for this movie all over town. So I don't know if they get Peacock here, but this movie
they probably get Stan. I believe it's called Stan over there. Yeah.
Because it's getting a lot of promotion here, and I've seen several billboards, and there was a billboard in the tube about it. So it's getting a lot of push here. So
we're riding a lightning rod,
I guess.
Yes. It's a try to be feel good holiday comedy. It's family friendly. It's got a big star, Melissa McCarthy.
I was happy that Marc Maron. I'm a Marc Maron fan. I was happy that Marc Maron had a decent part in this.
It had a really good supporting cast.
Yeah.
I'm a big Marc Maron
from The
fan.
Gilded Age.
I'm a fan of Louise Guzman too. He was in it.
Yeah.
Alan Cumming, rather.
Alan Cumming. Yeah, so the supporting cast was excellent, but I think that she can get good, like with the Melissa McCarthy movie, she can get a good supporting cast.
Yeah,
I guess so.
This movie, it sounds like I'm truly tearing it down. I didn't hate it. I just felt like it needed another 2 passes at the script, and it needed a better editor. To sort of to shape the story a little bit better and leave stuff out that wasn't necessary in the movie.
Well, before we start talking about this movie, someone who never needs to be edited, Kurt, do you have any Angela Blac Chyna news?
Doing a piece of China.
China.
I'm talking China.
The Blac Chyna Report. Here's Kurt Fitzpatrick.
A little light on the Blac Chyna news this week, but here's something from just a few days ago. This is from CBS News. It says Angela Blac Chyna White, Java Jamie. She was on the Java with Jamie show. Most of the world knows Blac Chyna as a model, TV personality, and socialite, but now she wants to be known for her authentic self. And she is starting by switching back to her real name, Angela White, in this week's Java with Jamie, White dishes on her self-transformation journey and newest business ventures. White talked about a new salon she opened in Encino called Hearts Pure and hopes her story will inspire other women to feel comfortable in their own skin. She is also focusing on the positive relationships in her life, including her boyfriend, Derek Milan, who is a 5-time Grammy Award winner. The 35-year-old recently marked her first full year of being sober after being baptized and said spirituality has become a focus in her life, and she believes it led to her romance with Milan. It's a beautiful thing. I feel like God is putting people in my life that is going to help me continue to stay on the right path, and that's really what it's about, said White. White continued to say she wants people in her life that will uplift her and hold her accountable. Any advice for other women who may be struggling right now? Well, the biggest thing is we hold ourselves accountable. Nobody can tell you what to do as an adult. You should know what is right and what is wrong and start taking accountability for your actions, White said. And that's it. That's our year-end story.
That's good. It's very touching.
Yes.
She knows the meaning of Christmas.
Way to go, White.
Yeah, way to go.
I wonder what she was wearing.
I just X'd it out.
A festive frock?
Yeah,
Right.
no, CBS News gets right down to business. I think that seemed to be almost like a transcript of, I guess, her appearance on that show. But a good overview of where we're at with Blac Chyna these days.
Well, I'm hoping for many, many outfits in the new year.
Yes, we need more news like that story some time ago when she was screaming at people in an airport. We just don't see this kind of Blac Chyna stories anymore.
No.
Nope.
It's a new Blac Chyna.
Nope. She's a changed woman.
We're here for it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Genie.
Genie.
So, we see New York. We see a British black man who's very busy.
It felt very Hallmark out of the gate.
It really did. By the way, this movie was on, for those of you who don't know, this movie was on Peacock.
Yeah. in the U.S.
But it was very Hallmark-esque because he started out like every Hallmark heroine, he was very busy.
Yeah, but this had more of a budget than Hallmark does because it
Yes.
clearly was conceived as a feature film. It was from Universal.
Yes. And he's riding a scooter, which I thought that's very brave to be driving through New York in a scooter.
Yeah.
And then we see him. He's looking over plans. Very, very busy. Jason, are you still there? We lost you.
Yeah, I'm here. Oh, my camera went out. Here I am.
Okay.
That's weird.
But so we see him. He's looking over plans. So what was he exactly?
It was an auction house, right?
Yeah, which is a very Hallmark job. That's a Hallmark Channel job that like Lacey Chabert has in several movies.
Right. Sammy had a few auction house jobs, I think, on the wedding veil.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They love to deal in antiques.
Yes.
And here it kind of played a role in how we get a genie. They don't deal with it much.
Because that's right. Because they go through his house, and we see like a box.
Yeah, like a glowing jewelry box,
just like shoved in the corner.
Yeah.
And then it's because it starts. So the movie starts off during the day, like when he's going to work, and then all of a sudden we're in the evening, and he's leaving work with the teddy bear. It's his daughter's birthday. We find out his name is Bernard.
Yeah. His wife's been texting him too, saying like, "Hey, don't forget our daughter's ice skating party. Hey, are you on your way? Where are you?"
Right. And so as he's leaving, his boss, Alan Cumming, shows up with a client. And Alan Cumming, with a very good American accent, by the way, tells Bernard to show the client
some collection.
The collection.
Yeah. And this is at like almost 7:00 at night.
Right. So he goes up and he shows the collection, and then when we cut back to him, it's hours later. And he's missed his daughter's birthday. He's getting pissed messages from his wife.
He missed Thanksgiving too.
Oh, that's right, because he missed Thanksgiving as well.
What
So
art buyers are like, no, I need to see this collection, and I need to do it while everyone else is watching football and eating turkey.
Right.
And also keep in mind that she's mad at him because he has a job.
Fair.
True. So
I do think one of the biggest problems with this movie is that they make the lead, Bernard, they make him too nice and affable where you don't believe that he would deliberately do things like miss his daughter's birthday.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's genuinely sorry about it, too. That's the thing. He genuinely feels bad. And so he goes home. His wife, you know you're in trouble when you go home and there's not a peep in the house. Mm-hmm. As a married person, that's where you know you're in trouble, when there's not a noise to be had and you know your spouse is at home.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
What do you usually hear? Like the radio is on, or
like
there's nothing. All that stuff is off.
Yeah.
All electronics are off.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And they're just sitting there waiting for you in the living room.
Yeah, that would be bad.
And she was sitting. Not only was she sitting there waiting, she was sitting there waiting in the living room with a kid. So he was in extra trouble.
No, she wasn't. She was in the kid was like asleep, and she was in the room like taking off her earrings or whatever, basically getting ready for bed. Because she even kind of said, "Oh, should we wake her so you can wish her a happy birthday?"
Oh, that's right. because I was taking notes at this point because it was Peggy. It was Peggy from The Gilded Age. Do you guys watch The Gilded Age?
No.
No.
Well, it's kind of like the American Downton Abbey that's on it's on Max right now. It's very
Max,
good.
Yeah.
With Christine Baranski.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I work with both Christine Baranski and Alan Cumming on The Good Wife.
Actually, Kurt, I'm surprised you haven't worked on The Gilded Age.
Well, I haven't worked as an extra in almost 4 years.
Oh, okay. Because they have like a lot of extras on The Gilded Age. Like a lot. And it's set in New York.
Yes. Well, watching this movie, I was grateful I wasn't working on this movie. It looks like a pain in the ass to be outside in the winter.
Bet they had good craft services, though.
We don't know that.
Well, it was a Universal movie, though. Or does that matter?
Sometimes it matters. You usually like a big studio, big star. If you've got a decent budget, the craft services is usually good.
Well, usually the advantage of a movie like that is they might be more apt to go into overtime.
Uh-huh.
So that could happen more than like a TV series.
Yeah.
So that's the advantage there.
Oh, so now this next part, I don't blame Peggy for getting pissed. Because they were like, Peggy's like, well, should we wake her up? And he realized that he forgot the teddy bear back at work.
No, it fell off his moped.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was an ugly bear, though.
So
And we
he
also
needs to
find
get
out in this moment that what the kid really wanted was a dollhouse.
Yes. So he needed to get her a present. So he just went and grabbed the glowing jewelry box and put it in a plastic bag.
Yeah, that was weird.
And gave it to her. And the little girl was like, wait, did you get groceries? Why are you giving me a plastic bag?
Well, so she never saw this thing on the shelf before? Or?
It's pretty high up, but yeah, that I questioned that in the moment too.
Because you're a kid, you're familiar with everything that's around usually.
Yeah.
And then he gives her the box and she can't open the box.
Yeah.
So then Peggy says, go pack a bag for grandma's. And then Peggy turns to Bernard, or Bernie, as they also called him. And she turned to Bernie and she's like, no, Bernie, you're not coming. I don't want you to come. And so then the little girl, it's like tells her dad, Mom says you're a selfish bastard.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, geez.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten away with that.
No.
So now
Must
this
be a
next part.
generational thing.
So this next part I really don't understand, because the next day, Bernie's talking to Alan Cumming, his boss, and he's like, I need time to fix my marriage, and Alan Cummings fires him.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that
Well,
either. Because he was asking for some time off?
No, he wasn't firing because of that. He was ready to fire him anyway because he asked him to come into the office to speak to him.
Oh.
He was going to fire him because the presentation that he made Bernie stay late for the night before, where he misses the daughter's birthday, the presentation didn't go well.
No.
But that wasn't Bernie's fault, because the boss just showed up.
Yes, but they were making him like a cartoonish villain. Like the way he flamboyantly fires him is so fucking degrading. And then there are some other like cartoonish things of he's so evil that happen later in the movie too that are ridiculous.
Yeah, he's like Scrooge.
Yeah.
Before Scrooge redeems himself.
Yeah.
So then Bernie comes home and Marc Maron is his doorman. And the doorman actually likes Bernie and invites him over. And then he talks about his cats. So the doorman has a lot of cats, and Marc Maron in real life has a lot of cats.
Yeah. And it's talking about parallel universes.
Yes.
Which they frankly could have used as a plot point, because they bring it up again later in the movie too.
So I'm wondering if on one of the scripts it was about a parallel universe.
Maybe.
I'm wondering if this was originally kind of going to be more like It's a Wonderful Life sort of a thing.
Maybe.
We liked Marc Maron in To Leslie.
Yes, he was very good in that.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Marc Maron fan. I listen to the Marc Maron podcast all the time.
Yeah, the one he did recently with Albert Brooks.
Yes, I listened to that.
recommend that.
Oh.
Yes.
I just watched that documentary.
Well, this is,
I watched it.
serves as a companion to that documentary. Which
I can't believe that Albert Brooks' dad died at the Farmers Club in the middle of a roast.
Yeah.
Oh, did he? I don't think I got to that. Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, like he died in the middle of a roast.
I love
and they
Albert
kept it, and they kept it going.
Jeez.
I just love that his real name is Albert.
Show.
His real name is actually Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, because his brother was Bob Einstein, Super Bob.
Yeah.
Or, was
Super
it,
Dave
was
Osborne.
It Bob?
No, Dave.
Oh yeah. Dave Einstein.
So anyway, Bernie goes. He opens the jewelry box. The genie comes out. Melissa pops out of the genie box.
Well, he did rub it.
And
rubbed it like a lamp.
Yeah, and then he asks her how she gets in there, and then we have like a flashback. And so she's like stealing from a sorcerer, and a sorcerer puts her in there. She's dressed like a pirate when she comes out. Which, it was supposed to be 2,000 years ago, and it looked more like the pirates from like Captain Morgan or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
just to correct myself. So it is Bob Einstein created the character Super Dave Osborne.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yes.
And correction for you, Les. So the last time she was out of the box was about 2,000 years ago, but that's not when she was originally put in the box, and that's what this little flashback was.
Oh.
She's been out of the box more than once.
Yeah, because she met Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was 2,000 years ago.
Okay, that part I liked when she's like,
That was
Mary's kid?
That was funny. that I got genuine laughs out of me for that.
She's like, I thought he was, she's like the one with no job.
She didn't say that. I was wondering where they're going to go with that because, tread lightly with a lot of people who are watching this movie. I think,
Especially if you're doing a Christmas movie, a mass appeal Christmas movie. Yeah.
This is made for the heartland to, a degree.
Oh, so then he's talking to her, and then he's like, I wish. What did he say?
Well, he didn't believe that she was real at first. He thought she was an intruder. So she's like, you get wishes, like you have a wish. And then he says to the 3 wishes, and he's like, the 3 wish rule doesn't really count, except it counts in this way. Like, I still don't understand the wish rules. I don't.
Yeah, because that's right. Because remember, she was like because she was like the 3 wish rule doesn't count, and you get unlimited wishes.
But then there was things where the 3 wish rule did count. And then there were certain parameters around like the kinds of wishes you could make.
Right. And also there weren't.
Yeah.
There were and there weren't. Well,
one of them was time travel. Time travel not allowed until it was.
Until it was. And then like he wished for a camel, and a camel popped up. And she's like, well, everybody always wishes for a camel. And then we cut to Peggy at her mom's house. And she's talking to her mom, who is very pretty.
Mom.
That was her sister.
I'm sorry? That was her mom.
I didn't think that was her mom.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did like the little bit about the genie not knowing how to he used air quotes for something, and she's like, what's that? And then she tried using it a few times and just kept getting it wrong, like how to use the air quotes.
Yeah, that was funny.
I missed that.
Oh, so then that's so then he's telling her about his boss and what happened, and she's like, you want me to kill him?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was going to go kill him, like she was going to stab him.
Oh, and then another rule, because he wished for something about his wife, and she's like, wishes can't change a person's feelings.
Yeah.
And then we find out that the genie's real name is Flora. Yeah. And then he wishes that he was at
Flora Gwendolyn Lockheed Firepit McAllister.
Yeah.
I do feel like that last name was a nod to Home Alone. The McAllister family.
They're probably all references to
something.
Yeah.
I didn't look them up. But.
So then he wished that he was at his mother-in-law's house. So then they pop over to his mother-in-law's house. Peggy pops out because she's like, what are you doing here? And he introduces Flora as a friend of his from work.
That just came from a Ren fair.
Right.
Yeah. You guys got a lot of laughs out of this. I think I got like one laugh.
Melissa had some funny they had some funny bits just around her sort of fish out of water aspect. To me, that's where the actual comedy came from. But they're doing this fantasy movie and couldn't figure out the rules to their own fantasy.
Right.
It seemed like, to me, the most McCarthy comedy was kind of trying too hard. It was like, well, if you've never, I don't know, wasn't my, because it was like her changing outfits, like she's different characters. Have we gotten to that yet? I guess not.
Not yet, but we will soon. Yeah.
All of a sudden, she's in different outfits, and she looks like.
But that was a makeover montage.
So maybe you like it. It's not my cup of tea.
It was a makeover montage of sorts, and it did that. At least followed the rules and followed the helped. Sure. Helped the story in that she needed to blend in and not look like this crazy person from a Ren fair just walking around every day. Right. But she's also oblivious to what is quote unquote normal.
Look, if I'm watching Dr. Strangelove or Lolita and I see Peter Sellers actually doing different characters, that's amazing. But Melissa McCarthy just in different outfits, looking like different characters. I mean, look, I've already seen the best.
But she wasn't playing other characters. She was playing herself, trying to blend in by wearing these other outfits.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is I just didn't find that entertaining. It just looked like she was trying too hard, I guess. It wasn't working. I don't mean to be a Scrooge here.
No.
There is something coming up that I did think was amusing. So
okay.
Because
they go back to his house.
I'll redeem myself.
He wishes for a pizza, and I wrote here in my notes, Kirk would have wished for a cake.
I know, that was cute because she's like, I'm used to getting a fish out of the river or whatever. Which I did think, that probably would be better if you're used to grabbing a piece of an animal and chewing it up, and then you just give somebody a pizza. But then she's like, this is just, how did she describe it? She's like, this is just like a red.
Kind of like a limp something. A limp something, yeah. And then, of course, she takes a bite of it and is blown away at how good it is.
He introduces her to Spotify. And then she walks in while he's on the toilet.
Mm-hmm. Taking a dump.
And then later he's like, no, we need to do something about your clothes. And this is when she has her little makeover montage.
Thank God he wasn't masturbating.
Right. They go to Bloomingdale's.
Disagree.
What's that?
Disagree.
They go to Bloomingdale.
I would have been okay with him masturbating.
Oh, you would have been okay, yeah.
He's
it's supposed to appeal to the heart.
He's trying to rub the genie out of the bottle. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Oh.
Nice.
So what did you guys think about her eating hand sanitizer?
I'm still stuck with the genie on the bottle.
I liked her eating the hand sanitizer. I liked her trying to eat his iPhone.
It was okay. I was all right with it.
I did like when they walked by the gym and she thought that it was torture.
That's funny what too. I thought was funny. I kind of laughed at that. The guys with exercise equipment. She's like, "Oh, I thought this torture was over."
She goes, "I will avenge thee."
Yeah. So that was funny. That was it, though. No, I'm out of laughs.
So then this is the part they were talking about Jesus. And like,
Yeah, because he's explaining Christmas to her, like what it is and like why it's such a big deal and why everything, it's all like decked out throughout the city. And then he's like, it's, now it's this commercial thing, but it used to have to do with this person named Jesus. She's like, Mary's kid?
I thought that was
Wait,
funny.
how Jesus is the son of God. He's like, Mary's kid? I thought he was lying about that.
I was trying to think of a logic. So who is she? If she's alive when Jesus is around, who is she with? Who she's granting wishes to? Because isn't she always sort of like a servant?
Well, I guess that she was Mary's friend. She would hang out with Mary.
She knows Mary, yeah. She was at the Last Supper. We learn from a visual later in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see.
There's a visual later in the movie in the museum.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
All right.
And we find out later in the movie that Jesus wanted to open a restaurant with her.
Yeah.
How did I miss this? I would just watch the whole movie. I would have my undivided attention.
So then they did this thing with Santa. The kids were all lining up to see Santa, and then they started letting the kids get what they wanted. So there was like a toy montage, and like a kid got a horse and stuff.
Well, all right. Let's get that horse home.
Yeah.
Then they went to see Mission Impossible.
Well, then there's basically a commercial for AMC.
Yes.
AMC,
Mission Impossible. She had a crush on Tom Cruise.
Yeah, because she had obviously never been to a movie before, so she's watching this thinking that like Tom Cruise is a giant and he's stomping all these things on the screen, and doesn't realize that he's like a normal sized person. Although I do think that was like sort of a dig at Tom Cruise's height.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. 960. Okay.
What's happening? What's happening? Ask you your room number.
She just came over to see what I was doing.
Oh, should I edit that out of the podcast? Are you worried about people tracking you down?
No, you can keep it in.
Okay.
Who was asking you?
Oh, one of the reservations guy.
Have him on the show.
What room are you in?
Yeah.
Boy, that's desperate for guests. Someone just walked by.
I'm in the middle of the lobby. I'll show you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't see anybody. They have a Christmas tree. It's a large lobby.
It is. It is. What was I going to say? Okay, so then, what did you guys think about him? Okay, Marc Maron is like into her and like hitting on her.
This is another thing where I think there was a rewriter or something of the script, because they have this moment where they're connecting, and it sort of hinted that like, I feel like I know you from somewhere, but like both sides sort of intimated that.
Yeah.
And we learn that, she's a genie and has been to all these different places and times. We learn that he's been talking about alternate universes. He brings it up again here. So I thought for sure he was somebody that she had helped or met in a previous life or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Something was missing.
Yeah. Because the same, and because he made it a point to talk about alternate universes too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and she's washing her hair, and she puts her head in the toilet.
Toilet. And then she gets him a sports car.
Cool.
She gets him a sports car.
Lambo.
Then he shows up at his little girl's school, and he apologizes to Peggy because Peggy's picking the girl up at school.
Peggy's Julie, right? Yeah.
And then Peggy gets him to pick the girl up at school.
Yeah, but then Johnny shows up.
And Peggy did not let any grass grow under her feet.
I
Peggy
think
was like-
Johnny's harking the pink pickle.
I think I think that was a misdirect for the audience. I think they were trying to make it seem like not even that she's moved on, just you want him to be jealous for a minute that maybe she's already moving on.
But he was better looking than Johnny.
Oh, much.
I lost my place for a minute.
I just wanted to say harking the pink pickle, so I'm just happy I had that opportunity.
So then he is getting a little jealous of Johnny though. But then he wanted to come by. They were like, well, why don't you? Peggy's like, why don't you come by over the weekend and you can spend more time with Eve, the daughter. And then the genie goes invisible and trips Johnny as he's walking away.
Yeah.
So then she walks in and Marc Maron hits on her again. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh, he looks like he's fun. and then Bernie was like, oh, he has a lot of cats. And she's like, oh, they're delicious.
I guess she eats cats.
Yeah. So then Bernie's family comes over.
Well, out of the blue, the doorbell rings, and his entire family all arrives at the same time at his door.
Yeah.
Because I guess he forgot that he had a dinner party planned with them.
Yeah. It's a very mainstream movie thing to happen.
Yeah.
Here everybody is.
And his family are all horrible people.
Yes.
Horrible. Because then he tells the family that Flora is a genie and they start making their wishes and their wishes are awful.
What? So
yeah.
I what I liked about this scene is that Flora immediately stepped in and she's like, oh, I'm his chef that he hired for the dinner, or he said that. So she was all dressed up like Suki from the Gilmore Girls, her old character, making food, and then they grant the wishes. But why was this scene in the movie? What
I don't understand
purpose did this scene serve at all? Because we never see or hear from these people again. It doesn't move the story along one bit. Nothing comes out of them finding out that Flora is a genie. I think they originally tried pitching this movie to Eddie Murphy as a Klumps kind of scenario, where Eddie Murphy was going to play all those characters.
Right.
Oh.
You're right.
Okay.
Because it literally would have been like the Klumps.
Yeah.
If it was all Eddie Murphy's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eddie Murphy as the main guy, you know?
Because then the one part that was kind of disturbing a little bit when she was like, you can go to hell. And he comes back from it. She sends him to hell.
Yeah.
But if it was a Klumps like Eddie Murphy playing all the parts, that would have been totally funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting what the level this movie is on, because in this movie, hell exists, heaven exists, Jesus exists, and yet this mysticism also exists.
Oh, and then they said the devil looked like Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a solid joke.
It's okay.
I said solid. I didn't say funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could take this scene out of this movie and it changes nothing about the outcome of this movie.
Nothing.
And then the husband, his wish is that his wife can't speak anymore, so he can't hear her anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's when she was like, you can go to hell.
Yeah, then she sends him to hell.
So then this next part.
Spin-off movie. They could have a spin-off movie where it's his story in hell.
Yeah.
Then this is where the movie turned really weird. Because first they're talking about Tom Cruise and they're doing what would Tom Cruise do, and then she fixes the house up. And then
she called it Wishing Impossible. So stupid.
Yeah. That was cute.
And she's putting up pictures of Tom Cruise as well.
Yeah.
But they did this thing because, like, he had this T-shirt of this. It was a soccer player, right?
Somebody from sports. It was like a sports jersey.
He had this jersey on the wall, and so
it was like a framed one, like a sign framed one.
And she's fixing the house up, and so her thing was, "Oh, come on, your wife doesn't like this. You should switch it for something else that your wife likes." And so then she switches it with the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, like the actual Mona Lisa. Like the actual Mona Lisa. And when it happened, this movie was so off the rails at this point because the minute it happens, somebody in the Louvre notices that there's like a jersey hanging on the wall instead of the Mona Lisa. And like Paris goes apeshit over this. It's like front page news around the world. It was ridiculous.
And then Peggy, meanwhile, Peggy brings the daughter home. They show her, one of the things that they made her during the house makeover is they made her this fabulous dollhouse. So she's playing with the doghouse. The daughter's very happy. Then we see, Melissa's like hitting on Marc Maron again. And the daughter's happy with her grandmother because with her dad. The daughter's happy with her dad because she's like, he used to be a selfish bastard, but he's not anymore. And then he invites Peggy over, right?
Peggy agrees to come over.
And then they're doing this whole romantic thing with drinks and fireworks.
There's like a drone show.
Yeah.
There was a big show going on outside.
Yeah. But then he invites Peggy to spend the Christmas Eve, and Peggy's like, well, no, you can spend it with our daughter.
Yeah. Well, they're about to kiss, and then Peggy like self-cock blocks. And she's like, actually, we should start figuring out how things are going to work long term.
Yeah. So then, so Bernie goes out for a second. How did the house catch on fire?
So, well, so in addition to everything we, the audience, get to see on screen, Flora tells him like, "Oh, I saved my best stuff for the bedroom." And there's like a bearskin rug with like a giant bear head sticking out of it. There's rose petals, and then there was a band that she had hiding in the kitchen. And then the neighbors like banging on the door because there's smoke because the kitchen's on fire because Flora was cooking on an open pit.
So then the fire department comes over and they see the Mona Lisa in the living room.
They immediately recognize it as this must clearly, in this New York City apartment in the middle of this fire, this clearly must be that actual stolen Mona Lisa that we've heard about on the news.
Right.
There was a 60 Minutes on last week. So this is related to this, where they're talking about all these stolen like ancient statues, and some family opened up their home for like Architectural Magazine to take pictures of their house, and it's all pictures, and the pictures are all this stolen statues.
Oh wow,
that's crazy. Actually, you know what? A couple of weeks ago, I went to a Christmas party at someone's house, and they had a Basquiat.
Oh wow, that's cool.
They had an original Basquiat. Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got a Picasso in New York. If you walk down, it's like you walk down like 4th Street. You walk to the Village, and you can look in somebody's window, and they apparently have an original Picasso. Somebody told me that as we were walking. They said, look, you can see original Picasso. There it is. It's in that house right there.
Just on the street level, so everybody can see.
Somebody owns it. Somebody owns the Picasso. It's in the house.
So this is where then the movie goes bonkers, because then the police show up. They take Bernie to jail
for stealing the Mona Lisa.
What's that?
Stealing the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
Mona Lisa.
So then it turns into like a cop show all of a sudden because this cop is just like gonna burn. Like this cop just has a Jones on to nail Bernie to the ground.
Louis Guzman, yeah. And the reason Flora isn't around, by the way, is because Flora is off watching Top Gun Maverick because she thought that Bernie was going to have this romantic night.
Yeah. So then Flora shows up. She talks to Louis Guzman, and then he puts her in jail too. But then when he's like, "You're gonna be stuck in a box," and she's like, "Oh wow, sounds familiar to me," because she was in a, she's been in a box.
Yeah.
So he's really mean. He wants to nail her and him, and then he's counting down the days until he gets transferred to the main prison.
I thought it was weird that during the questioning, Louis Guzman had a tape recorder that looked like the tape recorder like I had in like 1981.
Yeah.
So then he wishes that everything is switched back, and so then the genie switches the pictures back, and so then when the picture shows up at the police station, it's the jersey. So he has to let them go. So I was like, what was the point of this whole thing?
Yeah.
Well, look, I'm not a huge fan of this movie. Maybe it works for some people. Maybe it's like a background movie you could have on and something happens for a little while and that's it.
So then Peggy brings the little girl over, and then the little girl finally... Because it's like, why is this woman in our house? Who is this?
Yeah. The girl literally says, like, it's weird that this random lady is living at the house all of a sudden.
Right.
Now, how do you think it would be perceived if it wasn't, instead of Melissa McCarthy, let's say it was Blake Lively in the house? And what if, like, what if he shows up with Blake Lively at his wife's house? Do you think she'd react a little differently?
Yeah, we'd have black hoodies. We'd have Vivica A. Fox showing up. Look like you picked the wrong Genie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would have been a different movie for sure.
I think people would have been a little more suspicious because nobody ever suspects that he's romantically involved with this woman who is now living with him.
Right.
Oh, so then they tell the little girl that she's a genie, and the little girl asks about a magic carpet, and they take her on a magic carpet ride.
Which I think looked terrifying. I would have been scared to death.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
On a magic carpet? I'd love it.
You'd love riding around a magic carpet flying through the air.
After the first couple of seconds where you're like, oh, I'm not going to fall off of this because it's magic, I'm safe, then I wouldn't be worried.
Yeah.
Versus getting in a car that's out of control. I know how cars work, and unless I think the person driving has a handle on things, then yeah, I'm scared.
All right.
So then this next part was weird too because he gets the way that he gets revenge on Alan Cummings is there's a donation made. It was like for kids, right? For $100 million.
Yeah, they basically one of Bernie's wishes is he wishes that or calls in like a donation on Mr. Flaxman's behalf for his entire fortune to be given to charity. And then like all the press is outside of the Flaxman auction house, like ready to interview him about it. And instead of just saying like, no, I didn't authorize that, he like gets scared and goes inside.
Yeah, so then he's basically giving away all of his money.
But he could just said, I didn't agree to that.
Yeah. So then So then one of Bernie's wishes is he wishes for Flora to be free, which is like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that was nice.
So then
I actually teared up at that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, good for him. But then this is where the rules get weird, because then she's like, okay, so now that I'm free, a lot of people realize that once I leave, that there's wishes that they forgot. So once I leave, you get 3 wishes. You get 3 extras, but that's it.
After she leaves. Okay.
Yeah.
But that was weird that that's how all of a sudden, so there are only 3 wishes.
Now, did he accidentally wish her away?
Yes.
That's where I was a little confused. Okay.
Yes.
And I have thoughts on that too. Because when they're saying their goodbyes, it was weird because like they've become close and she's helped him, not through wishes, but like they get along and he's her best friend now. They're saying goodbye like, hey, I am done with you in my life. You're so important to me, but you're moving on. I'm never going to see you again. And so they throw away the jewelry box in the trash. And then they start talking about how the rules are different on the wishes. Also, remember I told you time travel actually is real. And like you can do it, but we don't tell people about that because some really dangerous stuff can happen and it gets confusing. So I thought for sure that what they were going to do is when he wished her away in this moment, because he then wishes to go back in time to that night when he missed the ice skating birthday. So if we go back in time to that point, the jewelry box still would have existed in the apartment.
All right.
They should have jumped back to that, used that to either bring the genie back, or maybe he gifts it to his daughter and the daughter discovers the genie. Then you've got sequel after sequel.
Right.
We don't want sequel after sequel.
But then it looked like for a minute, because then it showed the box when he wished her away, she disappeared, and then it showed the box lighting up in the garbage can, and I thought, oh, did he accidentally wish her back into the box?
And that's what I thought too. That's why I thought, oh, he wished her back in the box, but she'll get out because we'll eventually get to that point in time where he has the box again.
Yeah.
Where did she go then?
To make a pizza. To make pizzas.
So she disappeared and she landed on another block in New York?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, that doesn't.
Because he has to go back in time, and then, he redoes everything, and then they go out to dinner, and that's when he knows.
He has 3 more wishes, and he wishes to get, one of the wishes is to get a table at the restaurant, and another wish is to get peanut butter sandwich and ice cream. That's one of his 3 wishes.
Yeah. Wasteful wishing.
Yeah. And then what was it? It was 3 months. What was it? 3 months later, or it was
3 months later.
3 months later.
3 months later, he goes to buy pizza. He's hanging out at home. Peggy sends him to go get pizza.
New doorman.
He goes to the pizza place, and the doorman is a different man.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the pizza place, and it's Marc Maron, which I had no idea Marc Maron even wanted to own a pizza place. Did he even mention that?
No.
Never.
No.
Never. And wait, we don't know if they own the pizza place. Do they just work there? What's going on?
No, I think Marc Maron owned it. And the genie was making pizzas and she was making pizzas.
This didn't make any sense.
No.
And she and Marc Maron were married, I guess.
No, I never said they were married. They were definitely together.
They were a couple.
They were a couple for sure.
And she was dressed nicely, so you could tell that she owned the joint because she was dressed like
She owned it.
she owned the joint.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I didn't think it was, like I said, I don't think it was my cup of tea going in. I don't know if it quite worked, even for what they were aiming for.
No.
Maybe some people would like it. I don't know.
Like I said, it was not without its charms. There were things about it that I could see one liking, but as a whole, it was bad. It was dumb.
And I was watching it on a layover. So for me, it killed 2 hours and it was entertaining because literally I finished the movie and it was time for me to board the plane. So it like killed time. So I liked it.
It's a good, like relatively mindless kind of movie you can watch on a flight and not be like super angry that you wasted your time because you were on a flight anyway.
Plus your brain's bobbing around in midair. You'd have a whole different appreciation. I watched one of those Batman versus Superman movies on a flight and I liked it.
Yeah. Now on my flight, I watched Happy Death Day. Have you guys seen Happy Death Day?
No. Oh, it sounds very cheerful with
well, it was kind of like Groundhog's Day, except for every day this woman would get murdered and wake up again and keep on reliving the murder. Like
it sounds like Russian Doll.
I'm not watching that.
It actually kind of was. It actually was like Russian Doll, but this was set on a college campus, of course.
Oh, I think I did see this. I feel like I saw it.
And then I watched seasons 1 and half of season 2 of Barry, which I really like.
Yeah, that's great.
What's the whole season?
Yeah. A season and a half.
Oh, so you're just watching stuff the whole flight. Okay.
It was an international flight, so.
You just watch
but
stuff
now I'm hooked and I need to like finish it. Good thing I have Max.
You sit next to John. Do you guys like share a headphone?
No, we don't. No, we do not.
Do you guys have similar tastes in the entertainment that you consume, or do you have very different tastes?
Certain things we do, certain things we do, but then he's into more like the Bake Off. I can't stand that show. Okay. He loves that show, and he's more into like historical stuff too. So. He was watching something else entirely. Anywho, oh my God, we did this in an hour. Yeah. It's 3 a.m. I need to go to bed. This
movie would make for like a good, like an old school made for TV movie.
Yeah. Oh, with Jane Seymour or like
it's probably good for. It would have been good for something like that years ago.
Like Delta Burke or something.
Yeah.
Right, it should have been on that level.
Like honestly, if this was, I would say, sort of in the same wheelhouse as that Shoe Addicts Christmas.
Ooh, which is still one of my favorite. Christmas movies.
Like I think we would have judged this less harshly if it were on Hallmark and didn't star as big a movie star as Melissa McCarthy.
Yes, true. So. I agree.
This seemed like a big swing on a softball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way to put it.
Anywho, speaking of soft, I need a soft bed. So if you want to find me, you can find me at my website, leskirkendallbarrett.com. Jason.
Please rate and review us wherever you listen to your podcast. Give us 5 stars. It helps more people find us so they can hear what we had to say about Genie. And you can find all of us on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at that's mine. You can find all of us on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at Lifetime of Hallmark Podcast. And find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Big Shot Jason. Kurt.
Well, all I want to say is, since it's the holidays, I want to say how much I appreciate Jason Bowers, and I appreciate Les Kirkendall Barrett, and I appreciate this podcast. That's what I want to say.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
We appreciate you too. And yes, in the new year we have some potential plans.
Yeah, Les and I discussed something. We'll tell you off the air, Kurt. I don't want to spill it yet, but I have an idea that I want to run by you.
And it's a good one. It's a very good one.
Yeah.
That audience.
Oh, by the way, Kurt, did you get our picture? Did you get our picture that we took with the wrong Prince Charming in the background?
Bartender? Yes.
And Les and I were in onesies.
Oh, that's what we should have talked about. We should have talked about that. Too late now.
Oh, no, we're right here.
Jason.
It was a onesie party.
Yeah.
Jason had a onesie party.
If I went to that, I would have to purchase a onesie. I don't have a onesie.
Kurt, I have spares.
Oh, great.
I have plenty of onesies. I own like 10 adult onesies.
It was very comfortable that night.
Yeah. Although it was warm because it was a warm night that night. Like everyone was like dying when we went down to the bars.
Yes.
And onesies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it was
One of you was
like an 80-degree day that day.
Yeah.
Who
It
was
definitely got
dressed-
too hot.
Who was dressed as a cow?
That was John.
Oh, John was
That
a
was
cow.
my
John
one.
was a cow, yeah.
That was one of mine.
I was an elf.
Anywho,
Oh, okay. All right.
well, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Yes.
And I guess we'll see you in 2024, which is in, what, a week and a half?
Or
We
maybe
might get
before
another
then.
Episode in.
We might squeeze another in.
Yeah, and actually, yeah. Let's try to squeeze another one in.
A New Year's Eve episode.
Yeah, or something.
All right.
Well, anyway,
We're
I will
back.
talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.